I will be the first person to admit that I never in my wildest dreams thought that Xbox would truly go after the WB Games studio. You know, the people that made all of the Batman Arkham games, some of the best superhero games ever made. Or the people that made Middle-earth Shadow of War, one of the best Sword of the Ring games ever made. Oh, and I forgot the Mad Max games, the Lego games, and not to mention the much anticipated Harry Potter games. Yeah, I never would have guessed Microsoft was actually in the running for acquiring these developers. But here we are, after reports have come out indicating that Microsoft is not only a part of the bidding war going on, but they might actually have a chance to bring all those studios into the Xbox Game Studio family. I mean, I was getting some behind the scenes information about this, people telling me that this might actually happen, and I ignored it. Because honestly, I saw it as a pipe dream, and to some extent, I kind of still see it as that. But after seeing all these massive news sites reporting on it and hearing from a lot of others that Xbox is at the forefront of getting all these studios, I have to actually give credit where credit's due, which is to Microsoft for actually picking up the phone and seeing what they can do with these new studios. So let's dive into what studios will come to Xbox if this deal happens, but also see what IPs come with the deal, along with why this is happening. Why is Xbox really trying to acquire all of these top-notch AAA studios? The answer might be a little different than people think. So let's get into this. But like always, if you like the video, hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. Alright, so the first thing I want to tackle with this whole deal is why it's happening and how did WB Games actually go up for sale? And more importantly, why did Microsoft jump at the opportunity to actually acquire all of these new studios? The article goes into great detail here explaining why this is all happening. AT&T has reportedly been considering selling off Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment, which it wholly owns, as part of its Warner Media subsidiary, as a way to reduce some of its debt. According to a new report from The Information, Microsoft has emerged as a new potential buyer for the division. If Microsoft does end up making the purchase, that would place well-established studios such as Arkham's Rocksteady, Mortal Kombat's NetherRealm, LEGO's TT Games, and Middle-earth Shadow of War's Monolith as the newest Xbox studios. Now I hear that the debt at AT&T was in the range of $150 billion plus. Now most of you might think, well, how does $2 to $4 billion help with that debt? And the main thing we need to realize is that keeping studios like Rocksteady and Monolith, not to mention all the other studios active making games, costs a lot of money. You throw in the marketing and traveling deals to promote games, and you have a situation that costs a lot of money for publishers. That's where Microsoft, along with EA and Take-Two and Activision, come into play. They're gaming companies that understand what it takes to run multiple gaming studios. But most of all, this brings so much talent to each of those publishers, especially Xbox, who already has 15 game studios under their umbrella, and with this Warner Bros. Games purchases, could push them to over 25 studios in an instant. Not to mention have some of the most talented developers in the industry working on Xbox games for a growing Xbox brand. Now I know some are wondering what studios would come with something like this, and I have a list put together that I think will show exactly what Xbox could get. Here's the list right here. They would get Avalanche Software, Monolith Productions, NetherRealm Studios, Rocksteady Games, TT Games and its 5 subsidiaries, WB Games Boston, Montreal, New York, San Diego, and San Francisco. Now, that's a lot of studios that would join the Xbox Game Studio family. Not only will that include the massive AAA studios like Rocksteady, NetherRealm, and Monolith, but it will also get the subsidiary studios that help build those games. I know a lot of people just want talented studios, and of course, that's what everyone wants. But the little subsidiary studios are just as important because they provide extra talent to help build games. They help with world building, animations, back-end development. No matter the task, they're given the code to help each studio that's the main attraction for those small studios within San Francisco, San Diego, New York. And with all this talent comes a hefty price. I think the $2 to $4 billion price tag will go up a lot, considering Take-Two, EA, and Activision Blizzard are all in the mix to grab these studios, and why wouldn't they be? They understand the massive amount of talent there, but they also understand the brand recognition the studios have, especially since they've worked on some of the best IPs in the world, games like Batman Arkham series that's still considered the best superhero games ever made. all the way to Lord of the Rings, and these properties might actually be a part of the deal in some capacity. Here's what the article has to say. It's important to note that many of Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment's best-known franchises are based on licensed intellectual property from other companies. Those licenses wouldn't necessarily transfer over in the purchase of the company. Individual arrangements could be made, but the bottom line is that even if the studios do become part of Microsoft, the future of Batman, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings games wouldn't necessarily follow. Now, this is where things start to get a little tricky, because I do think that the deal will include first dibs on the IPs for these games. Because if we remember, Disney bought Star Wars for about $4 billion and has since made that money over tenfold. But they bought just the IP, because that's what's valuable. As for Xbox and the game studios, I think that the talent making the IP is far more valuable. That's where the money should be put, not in the IPs, but in the talent making the IPs into what they are. It's something that Warner Bros. Has put stock in for some time now. They've really leaned on certain types of creators to really push what they want to do in their franchises, especially DC franchises, more specifically DC Comics. For years, they've leaned on comic book writers or game developers and animated movie directors to shape what they will do with those properties. And Rocksteady was one of those creative outlets that helped shape the DC Comics and characters of the Batman universe for years. I mean, Harley Quinn has taken a drastic new look on all forms of its media, and the main inspiration was the Harley Quinn we saw in the Batman Arkham games. So it's no surprise to me when I hear that these IPs will be a part of the deal, but not in a way that gives Microsoft the IPs for good. Instead, it will be a way for them to work on those IP and get first dibs on whatever IP Warner Bros. Has. An example will be if a random studio outside of Microsoft and Warner Bros. Wants to work on a Catwoman game, for example. The first thing Warner Bros. Would do is ask Xbox, hey, would you mind if we let them work on this standalone game? Or do you have plans for the character? Xbox would either agree to let them work on it or say, hey, we have plans for this character, maybe they can select someone else. It's that simple. Not to mention Warner Bros. Would get far more money leasing out their top properties to multiple companies. It will be a constant flow of money coming in, especially since these IPs are so popular. Much like Star Wars and EA, they have a deal in place. EA has a complete monopoly on the Star Wars franchise and makes games directly involving Star Wars. Something like that. But for Xbox, this could be a game-changing purchase because it will truly give them some of the most talented developers in the world, but also push them ahead of any publisher out there, and the sheer size of game studios they have. Here's what the article has to say. Microsoft's Game Studios, which was renamed from Microsoft Studios in 2019, currently owns a total of 15 game studios, including Double Fine, Compulsion Games, In Exile Entertainment, Ninja Theory, Obsidian Entertainment, The Coalition, Turn 10 Studios, 343 Industries, and more. Purchasing Warner Bros. Interactive could potentially bring the number of studios under Xbox Studios' wing to almost 30, and give them the licenses to franchises based on Harry Potter, Lego, and even the rumored new Batman Arkham game. This quote does paint a very big picture for all of us to see, because Xbox and Microsoft have invested a lot of money into the Xbox gaming brand, not only buying and bringing in awesome talent to the Xbox family, but also getting great hardware and providing us great services like Xbox Game Pass. And that to me is the main reason Xbox is going after WB Games, so they can provide constant content to Xbox Game Pass. And seeing how there's already over 10 million subscribers to the service, Xbox and Microsoft see the profit that can be made there. And with huge IPs like DC, Harry Potter, and of course Lego, this could push the subscription service to crazy heights. And it could set Xbox up next generation as the powerhouse publisher that every single gamer needs to be a part of. Which the article points out here. Purchasing Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment could help Microsoft and its Xbox Game Studios significantly increase the number of exclusives it could release for its next generation Xbox Series X console, which could allow it to match or even surpass Sony's PlayStation 5 lineup. Among the companies that have expressed interest in purchasing Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment, Microsoft looks to be in a good position to purchase the company. That is, if AT&T does finally decide to sell, given its advantageous position as one of the biggest technology companies in the world. And that's where everything wraps up in a nice little bow, because Xbox is trying to win next generation no matter what anyone says. Microsoft isn't allowing the Xbox Series X to launch with no games this time around. They aren't making the same mistakes they made in 2013 with the Xbox One. Instead, they understand the value of gaming and understand it's one of the biggest growing markets in the world. The sheer amount of money gaming makes now is undeniable. So when I heard that Xbox was in the mix for WB games, it did stun me. I was actually shocked that they were in the mix. But after thinking about it, after reading multiple articles, it just makes more and more sense. Xbox wants to really dominate in the gaming market. They want to stave off companies like Amazon, Google, Sony, Apple from getting a foothold in the gaming market even more. All the while, they're building up their brand and building up Xbox Game Pass, which is the best deal in gaming right now, bar none. So yes, I do think this is a possibility, and I have a feeling that if AT&T does want to sell their gaming division, there will be a huge bidding war, because the talent of those studios along with the IPs involved will make the publisher so much more powerful in the gaming world. Let's hope that Microsoft and Xbox actually pull this off, because it will make the gaming world turn on its head. Not to mention make me as a gaming fan happy, because I love to see gaming companies go head to head and try to make the best content possible for us to enjoy. But enough about what I think about all of this. Tell me what you think about all of this. Do you think Xbox will buy the WB Game Studios? Will Xbox make Batman an exclusive game? Do you think Xbox will use all of the IPs they could get from Warner Brothers? Will they take a lot of that talent and put them on new projects? What studio out of all the WB studios makes you the most excited? When do you think this deal will go down? What can Sony do to even compete with Xbox if this happens? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zocker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamer tag is Zocker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. For the last couple weeks, I've been on my PS4 playing The Last of Us 2, and now I'm moving over to Horizon Zero Dawn. And then from there, I'm probably going to go to Ghost of Tsushima. So my Xbox, I'm jumping on with my friends playing Sea of Thieves and a couple other games, so my achievements are going to suck this month. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.